control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income source. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose a masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome. Today we are going to be discussing the tale of two baddies. So we have on one corner Albina, and she is a wealthy girl from a good family and all that stuff. And then we have another girl, and they're kind of beefing a little bit online because one is talking about the other and the other is going through something. And the other girl is known online as the Wizard Liz. I did not know who the Wizard Liz was until I saw Albina's video discussing what went on with her. And then I took some time to look into her a little bit. And she seems to be kind of like the original, because I think she's going on, I want to say like she's got like 8 million subscribers. She's been on for years. And she kind of does a lot of that sprinkle type advice, like advice for women on how to, like, I don't know what you want to call it, like level up or whatever it is that they do. And nothing wrong with any of the advice that I see that she gives, but we're going to be talking about some of the differences in their approach to life and, unfortunately, how things panned out differently for these two women that just happen to be going through a little beef. It's not like a big beef. It's just like a minor situation, but we're going to get into it. So I am going to be using Amala's clips to react to because I was trying to find better clips, but you can't really find any clips without like audio and stuff like that in the background. But somehow her team was able to find clips without audio in the background, so I can actually play them for you guys and react to them. And again, thank you so much for reacting to my hair positively. Sometimes it looks nice, sometimes it looks a mess, and you never know with curly hair what you're going to look like when it dries or when you wake up in the morning. So thank you guys for saying it's a good hair day. They are rare and we appreciate them when they happen. Anyways, so let's just get into it, and also check out Amala's channel. She probably has an excellent reaction to these clips as well. I have not gone through it, but I'm sure we see eye to eye on a lot of things. So let's play it for us.
Avoid these situations, advice on discernment and manifestation, you name it.
Okay, so yeah, she does manifestation, advice, how to like find somebody who's going to treat you well. And she's one of those types, the Wizard Liz, that, you know, gives advice online to girls, and she's been doing it for a long time. She's probably, I mean, I don't know, this is not like my wheelhouse, but she's probably one of the original girls online that gives other girls advice on relationships and life and friendships. And I haven't seen any clip that's like bad advice, but we're going to get into what I think. All right. So we're reacting to reaction of reaction.
Please, comes off so desperate. Like, how desperate are you to be like, hey, listen, I know I'm not even worthy of an explanation, but I still want you.
Okay, so she, from what I can tell from the clips I have seen in this one, she's the type of influencer that likes to, you know, level up people's self-esteem. Nothing wrong with that. This is all good things. But apparently, with all of her advice, all of her life advice, and she does a lot of relationship advice, she did not end up in a good relationship. Right? So she talks about stop being desperate. Okay, this is good advice. There's nothing wrong with that advice. No one can deny that. There's a bad energy that you give when you're acting desperate, and you attract predators. And we've gone through that before. We don't want to be desperate. We want to be very careful who we allow in our life. Anyways, I'm trying to find the clip where she's talking about how she grew up. I think this might be.
Why are you in hell with him? You don't belong there. Baby, you're too good. If someone has to insult you to bring you down, you're already above them. You're already above them. Why are they trying to bring you down?
Okay, the advice in here.
All right. Let's see if this.
It's like, if you're a broke guy, and with broke guys, I don't mean men that are poor.
No.
I mean men that don't know how to create abundance. And that's a big issue. See, for example, for me, a broke man, how I classified is like my dad. My dad refused to work. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to figure out how to work. He made my mom work her whole life, and she was taking care of him, okay? He didn't respect himself, and he didn't respect my mother. It was just not imbalanced at all. And my mom had to be hyper masculine to make up for the lack of masculine energy in the house, right? Now, when you have that, a person that doesn't know how to be abundant, that's a broke guy, okay? It doesn't matter how much money he makes, as long as he's trying, that's an abundant man.
Exactly.
Because
Okay.
All right. So this is where she's talking about how she was brought up, what she saw growing up. So with a lot of these influencers, like she was talking about how to get a good guy, how to get a good relationship, and how to manifest love and all that stuff like that. Shut up. Her dad is not winning in life. You guys are so crazy. So what we can see from this girl's background is that she has a lot of trauma. And when we go through trauma like this, when we don't have a good male role model for what a good relationship is, love is, how you're supposed to be treated, and we just see like a negative example in our life. Before, when you had extended families, you'd have like aunts and uncles also raising the kids, grandpa and grandma, like two different sides, around the kids, raising the kids. If one couple in all of these groups was dysfunctional, you still had other examples of good, solid foundations for love and commitment and relationships. You had good examples, even if maybe one or two was poor. Now that we live in these terrible idea, like a horrific idea of a nuclear family, which what even is that? Now we're isolated. And if your parents are not a good example, you will not have a good example that you can pull from in your life to emulate, because humans do not learn how to be in a good, healthy relationship from seeing 1,000 bad examples, because there's an infinite way to have a bad outcome, a bad relationship, a bad outlook in life, a bad situation. There's infinite amounts of negative options out there. And just because you try to get the polar opposite of, say, like what her mother had, like, okay, so I don't want a broke guy, or I don't want a lazy guy. So then she could end up with a hyper achieving, but also narcissistic and, individualistic type of person, because it's the complete opposite. I don't want this, therefore I'm going to go to the extreme other end of the spectrum. When this happens, you have a high chance of it not working out for you. It's not how you get a healthy relationship. You need to start looking, and no offense to her, I mean, she doesn't know, she couldn't have known when you were young. And if you don't have a good relationship to see firsthand, you need to seek it out. And nobody tells you this. They kind of leave you alone to figure out life and love and all that stuff. But that's not how it works. You have to seek it out. You have to seek out, what's the happy couple? How do they treat each other? Because you only learn how to be in a good relationship by witnessing a good relationship day in and day out, period. I'm sorry. You can read 1,000 books. It's not gonna sink in. You can say all the affirmations, you can manifest, You can do all the things, but if you don't have an example of what you want to strive for, it will never become true for you. And I'm sure, like, maybe you can point out one or two freak accidents, sure. But somebody in the relationship has to be healthy and sound for a relationship to work. So if you come from a dysfunctional family or you've only had dysfunctional examples, the other person has to have the functional examples. And we live in a time where there's very little functional relationships to pull examples from. We live in a time of scarcity of happy couples. This is probably the worst time to be alive for a relationship and love, because the people we're listening to, they generally are traumatized. And they're responding to trauma with, I want the polar opposite of whatever gave me the trauma. So if they were cheated on, they want to be hyper controlling to avoid getting cheated on again, which leads to the other spectrum of disorder and bad outcomes. Because if you're hyper controlling and someone agrees to be hyper controlled, either they're young and they'll grow out of it and then attack you, and then you have those situations, or you're hyper controlling, they're going to resent you, they're going to poison you, they're going to do something to you, or the people you attract are going to be with you for what you can give them, and they will lie to your face and cheat and steal behind your back. So you can't just do the opposite from your trauma. You understand what I'm saying? It's not going to lead to where you think it is. And no matter how many good intentions you have, if you don't surround yourself with people who have what you want, you can't get it. There's a specific way people act when they're in good relationships. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's not love bombing. It's not tons of trips. It's not tons of presents. It's not these big acts of, grandiose, whatever. They're not spectacles. It's not Instagram beautiful. It's not like always perfect and pretty. It's not going to be, it's not going to be perfect. It's not the fantasy. It's not going to live up to the reality. The reality of a good relationship is, number one, it's boring. It's boring. And if you come from chaos and you are used to that, your nervous system is going to create it. And you're not going to feel calm and safe, because if you grew up in chaos, you're going to try to recreate chaos, because that's what makes you comfortable, because that is familiar. Just because something is familiar does not mean it is healthy, normal, good, or right. Okay. So sometimes when we come in like from a lot of trauma, we create the drama and the trauma again. Maybe it's a different breed, but it's still the same thing. It's still trash. So as good as her intentions were, and we hope, things work out for her. Apparently, she ended up with a narcissist that love bombed her and bought her expensive things. I mean, this is all hearsay. Who knows, right? All right. We don't know everything. But if this is true, that would be, I come from this, where, my mother had to work and be manly, and my father was very feminine and lying and cheating and treating her poorly. Okay, so this is where she comes from. So she's like, I want the opposite. So the opposite of that is, I want someone to buy me a lot of things, because that's the opposite of someone who won't work. They have a lot of money and they use it to buy me things. So they're very, they flaunt their wealth. The opposite of lack is flaunt. It's like an extreme version. Like the reality, like if you're mentally sound and you're not trying to overcompensate for your trauma, you would be like, my father was not a hard worker. He was a user. So I want someone who's a hard worker and doesn't use people. Now that would be a healthy way to do it. But when you don't come from a healthy mindset, it's going to get distorted. So then it becomes an extreme. And the extremes of the spectrum are where disorder happens. We need something in the middle which is very nuanced and specific, and you can only get it from constantly being exposed to it over and over and over. So a healthy relationship is going to be boring. It's going to be someone who there's no ups and downs. You're not going to be like super excited and happy, because in order to be super excited and happy and like, oh my God, I'm so in love and butterflies and tingles and all that crap, they have to bring you down here. So they usually like do that by, like, abusers will lower your self-esteem, lower your self-worth, or, remind you of all the bad things that happened, or find someone who's had a lot of bad things happen. And then they give them like breadcrumbs or like grandiose things, and then they pull it away and then bring it back and pull it away. So then you feel up and down and up and down and up and down, and you're going nuts. And if you're used to that because you come from a bad experience in your childhood, it's going to be familiar. You're going to get confused and you're going to go for it. So look for someone who makes you calm. If somebody is triggering jealousy, if somebody is triggering any sort of negative emotions and then makes like good emotions, you need to pay attention to that. And you don't pay attention to that if you don't come from a healthy background, because you don't know to. It's not a thing. So the people that I knew growing up that I was thankfully around that had really good relationships, it was the most boring relationships you could imagine. You're not going to see them in romantic movies. They're not going to get any limelight or attention. Nobody's jealous of them because it's not that freaking exciting. There's no big, grandiose anything, right? They're just in the quiet moments at peace, calm, and they're happy. If somebody's having a hard day, the other one's like, how can I help you calm down? How can I help you feel better? It's not like, oh, you feel bad? Let me take you on a trip. Let's go bungee diving. Like that stuff doesn't happen in a good, healthy relationship. So you're not going to experience that. That's why there's so many girls who are online who come from trauma, and they will say things online like, oh, I'm dating this good guy. He's fine, but I'm bored. And I'm thinking about the toxic loser that I was with or whatever, right? And they do this because they never saw healthy. They were only caught up in unhealthy, and they're just going to keep recreating that. You can never build with someone who doesn't recognize that pattern, because they're going to keep needing too much from you. And then we also have the other end of the spectrum where it's the guy who's like, I want to be taken care of, because they didn't have a strong male role model who took care of the family. Right? So then they just see the mom taking care of them, and then they can't recreate a family with a strong male role model because they didn't have that. So all they can do is recreate a pseudo family with a strong female role model, but then they will start treating her like the mother. And then when you treat a woman like your mother, she loses sexual attraction to you. So then she doesn't want to touch you that way. She might love you, love taking care of you. But when a woman is taking care of someone, that's a child. That becomes mentally their child, their responsibility, their child. So there's no feeling like that. You don't want feeling like that for someone you're taking care of in that way. So it's just something you have to know. When I see very healthy couples, it's always the male is a strong leader in the family, and he comes in and he takes care of his family. He takes care of his wife, so much so that she is calm and relaxed and can take care of the children because she's calm and relaxed. If she's stressed out about him, what's he doing? Is he blowing money? Is he online talking to skanks? If she's worried about what he's doing, she's not worrying about the children. And a strong man knows the future is the children. And that's the most important thing. And a woman cannot take care of her children well if she's stressed out about money and what he's doing. So he has to make her very calm, reassuring. And there's a difference with what that looks like. It's going to look like more transparency in communication and less I'm just honest when you ask me. I'm just honest when you ask me is you didn't ask where I was going last night and with who, so I didn't tell you. But if you had asked, I would have said, yeah, I did this with this person. Transparency is they give the information without being asked. Tomorrow, I'm going out with this person and this person. If you're not comfortable, you're welcome to come or whatever. You work it out. You're transparent. There's nothing shady. There's no secret, nothing. There's no, this is my private stuff and that's your private. No. When you're in a good relationship, you become one person, right? And one person doesn't have privacy from the other. You don't not tell your hand what your arm is doing. That doesn't make sense. It's supposed to be one person. It's one body. So every part of you needs to know what the other part is up to. It's supposed to be so connected that it's like a silent knowing of I know what every part of me is doing. So then I'm at peace because I feel safe. My arm isn't being ripped off. My foot's not over here. Whatever. Forget the metaphor. But you get what I'm saying. You're one person. There's no privacy. You can't pretend to be in a committed relationship when there's secrets, no privacy, when you have to create highs and lows of emotional torment to keep the person interested, right? Some people, they need to work on themselves and how they were trained to crave, and their nervous system only feels comfortable in chaotic environments with trauma constantly happening over and over. There's a lot of women that they'll be like, oh, you can do whatever to me. Just tell me what you're doing. They're re-traumatizing themselves over and over from what they saw. That's not going to end well. That's not going to be good for the children. Like, it's just not going to be good. Okay, now let's move on from the wizard Liz and what she did. She recreated her trauma in an extreme form. She was in this end of the spectrum with watching a loser father, let's say, that didn't do anything and just mooched off of people and was abusive, to getting a hyper narcissist, show off type of person that kept her highs and lows constantly, right? And now we have the other girl. This is Albina. She comes from a good family where her father and mother got married and then they became wealthy together. The mother got to stay home and all that stuff, but she saw a loving, committed, trusting relationship, monogamous. I mean, come on, all the good things. She got to see that. All right. And this is her take on the wizard Liz.
Liz has commented on my post. Let's read.
This is the wrong one. Hold on. We're going to do this one first. Here we go.
Liz has just posted 20 minutes on her Instagram stories exposing her baby daddy for making AI corn of her, threatening to call ICE on her.
This guy also always threatened when I was in the US to call ICE on me.
And he also posted a picture of their child without her consent, while claiming that she was the one who abandoned their baby.
And I could not take my child because you legally prevented me.
Liz is not American and she does.
Oh, I forgot to share this. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'll start it all over again. All right, here we go.
Does not have a green card, so she had to go abroad in order to renew her visa. According to Orlando, I still don't know what the guy's name is, and nobody ever would if it wasn't for Liz, but he wanted Liz and him to get married, so she has a green card and she does not have to leave the country.
He wanted me to get married to him for a green card instead. I refused because he wants to get married so he can come for my money.
If you didn't know, he's unemployed and he owes her more than 100K while liking comments where people make assumptions that he was the one who bought her cars and shit.
He likes comments saying that Lamborghini that I have, he bought it and whatever. I sent him a message. I'm like, why are you lying? And he said, oh, sorry, I liked it out of frustration.
But now Liz had to actually leave the US to renew her visa, and there is a chance that London will get full custody of their child, despite of him not being present in the child's life until 3 weeks ago.
I'm at risk of this guy getting full custody because my lawyer said getting a child
child out of the United States is very hard.
Now London expects Liz to pay the child support, and he's even making comments to her that it's time for her to go back on YouTube so she can make money to send to him. He even has the audacity to tell her things like, your dad did such a bad job raising your family. There is so much more to unpack there. For example, he called cops on her after she slapped him, after she found out that he was making AI corn with her. Having a child with the wrong person can turn your life into hell, guys.
This guy genuinely enjoys this. Like, this guy was upset that his mugshot didn't go viral.
It's one thing if you're married and you do not have children. You can break up, divorce, and forget about each other. And here's the insane part. None of us know if we will have children with good people. Because as Liz's example shows, the person can fake their entire personality.
This relationship was from the beginning non-consensual because you faked your entire personality.
And if you think it will never happen to you, I sincerely hope so, but it's an illusion that it can happen to somebody else, but never to myself. I used to think things like this about war until 2014. You always think you hear those crazy stories, but it will never happen to you. And then it does. So unfortunately, sometimes the only thing you can do is stay strong. I wish that to Liz, and as always, do whatever you want with this information.
Okay, I didn't know all of that. It's a little much, you guys. So anyways, a lot to unpack there. So I heard from different creators, and I cannot confirm or anything, basically, because I don't know her and I have not followed the Wizard Liz. This is Albina speaking of the Wizard Liz, right? Anyways, so it's so apparently the Wizard Liz met this guy. He love bombed her. He bought her tons and tons of stuff. So she took that as he's a provider type male, which is the opposite of her father. But she let him convince her to get married or have a child within 3 months of meeting. And if you know anything about me and what I preach, it's that it takes over 90 days of a guy not touching you to go from object in his mind to human being, right? So this is not a defect on men. This is just how they are created and how they are wired. And this is why you do not touch a man. You do not get intimate with a man until you have known him for at least 90 days. And women nowadays, they want to be men, right? It's wild. And men are wired to just sleep with as many easy females as they can. So if you are going to not even wait 90 days, which is not that hard when you think about it, it's literally just a few freaking dates, like 3 months. I'm not even saying be exclusive. I'm saying know who they are, hang out with them. You could literally tell a guy, I need to, before I'm serious about someone, I need to hang out with them on at least 3-4 months. I'm perfectly fine with you going out with other women during this time. And if you find someone better, good for you. Just let me know. I'll pay for myself during the 3-4 months, or you pay for me, or we split it, whatever. And then when we decide after those 3-4 months that we actually like each other, that we actually want to be committed to each other, then we can go on a real date. You take me somewhere based on all this getting to know us and know each other as, friends, acquaintances, whatever. And then we have a real date, whatever. You get to know my parents, you cannot imagine the amount of young women nowadays that will be intimate with a dude that has not met their family. You're going to risk pregnancy, disease, attachment. Women become physically and emotionally attached when they touch someone like that. You should not touch someone like that hasn't at least been your friend for 3 or 4 months. And you need to stop with this. Okay, why would a man waste 90 days and how many hundreds of dollars on dates with just to get rejected? No. You don't make sense. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is how it was always done. all through history, you were supposed to be friends with them. Friends don't buy each other dates or anything. They hang out with each other. So to the women who are like, they just want money and they just want to have money spent on them, those women are going to be red flags. A woman who is like, we meet in a public place, we hang out, and then we leave, and we do that on repeat. No relationship, not really a date. It's a hangout for 3-4 months. And then after that, we decide if there is enough in common that we would like to date. And then once you decide that, you cut off everybody else. You meet the family. He meets your family. She meets his family. Everybody meets each other's family. And that's how dating is supposed to be. This disgusting propaganda of sleeping with a stranger and getting emotionally and physically bonded to a stranger. You don't know this person's family. You don't know how many people have dated someone and then they go to their house and they see they live in filth, cockroaches everywhere, old disgusting things fermenting, dirty socks, like God knows what you don't know this person and you've touched them. I know people who have gotten married without seeing the person's family and how they treat each other. And then after the fact, months after they went to like a family event, they see this person, this woman's family attacking each other, being brutally cruel to each other, throwing things at each other. And then the new patterns that he's starting to see develop in her suddenly come to light. You didn't use the big brain up here. Meet the family, because past experience is the best predictor of future experience. If someone comes from chaos and trauma, drama, trash, filth, not cleaning, not taking care of themselves. Everybody has got mental health problems. Like you want your kids to have psychological disorders. You didn't even check the family. You slept with someone that could have your child, and you didn't check their genetic makeup. You didn't even check their immediate parents and if they're okay and sound. And look, if a woman is a gold digger, please do not, there's no one forcing you to be with her. You don't have to. You don't even have to date in America. Leave the country. Oh my gosh. There's more countries than America, you guys. America's kind of going down, if you've noticed by now. It's not looking good. All right. And now here's the beef part we're going to get into. Apparently, the Wizard Liz girl saw Albina's post talking about her and made a comment. So
read it. Bro, is all you talk about me? You're truly obsessed and deranged in your head. Get a fucking life or read some books so you can talk about someone else, you weirdo. No one will click on your video if you do not put me in the title or take my message out of context. What a weird person you are. Hi Liz, you are absolutely right. The videos which I make about you perform so well, but you shouldn't be surprised about this because you're a famous content creator and you talk about things which unfortunately many women can relate to. Toxic relationships. 4 days ago, I made a video summarizing your live stream where you were sharing what you and your ex were currently going through. Liz is not American, so she had to go abroad in order to renew her visa. According to Orlando, I still don't know what the guy's name is, and nobody ever would if it wasn't for Liz. You're a public figure and you post so people have discussions. I actually pinned a comment where I asked people to report Landon because he shared a picture of your child without your consent. And I was very happy to see that this photo was banned. But despite of supporting you as you're going through this absolute nightmare, I do not agree with your philosophy. And to be honest, I often find your content quite red pillish and even dangerous for women. But disagreeing and expressing different opinions is what actually makes conversations productive. When everybody agrees with one another, it means that they probably live under a dictatorship. You, just like myself, by the way, are a person with Caucasian roots. So you probably value us having a chance of disagreeing with one another without having fatal consequences. A luxury which our ancestors did not have. Regardless, I understand that you are currently in a very vulnerable position, and probably every comment or every video might trigger you. You have bravely shared that you are going through postpartum depression, and I hope that you will overcome it as soon as possible, just like I hope that you will see your child in no time. No mother should be separated from her child. As per your recommendations, I actually do enjoy reading and do it all the time, but today you inspired me to reread one of my favorites, The Trial by Kafka. And I think you will also find a lot of answers in this book. So as always, do whatever you want with this information. The wisdom.
Women, bro. Anyways, so as we can tell from her response, some beef over there. But I do love the way Albina, the girl who was just speaking, responded as respectfully as possible. You're a public figure. You talk about stuff. We can talk about you when you share stuff publicly. This is just the name of the game when you go online. So it is what it is. And it's going to happen to everybody who's online at some point. It doesn't matter. But when it comes to Albina's take, she just also recently got married, and she recently got married within 3 months of knowing the guy, like after 3 months. And I know you're saying, okay, so both women, I don't know if the Wizard Liz girl got married or just had a baby with this guy in 3 months. And then Albina, she got married within 3 months, and she did not sleep with him or anything like that, to what she has said or what I remember. So this is just like strictly, she just got married. Albina comes from a very good family where her father is a very strong provider and protector of the family and gives her a lot of values. A big thing that good fathers do is they talk to their daughters about avoiding bad types of guys. This is what a father is. It's not just, you cannot protect someone physically if you are not telling them how to protect their heart, their emotions, their body from predators. And there's a lot of bad men and bad women that are predators. The women will be after the money without giving love and respect, right? That's a female predator. The man will be after body without giving love and respect, right? These are both predators and they're out there. And a father will say, you have to protect yourself by doing this, not doing that. And it's a big thing. I don't remember a Sunday where my dad did not sit me down and explain different life things. He would literally, we would go to, in Miami, so we would go to South Beach back when, like Ocean Drive was still safe. Now it's like dangerous. Don't go there. Had pastel buildings. It was super cute back in the day when it was still safe. We would sit like at the news cafe, like outside, and we would people watch. You'd see like Johnny Versace, and you'd see like Playboy models, and you'd see beautiful Latin women, and you'd see beautiful families, and you'd see all sorts of people. So you could see a variety of interesting creatures in Miami. So it was very fun. And he would just point at people, point at families, and say, tell me what you think about this person based on how they dress, how they act, whatever. And he would just give me the psychology behind it. Okay, this woman is dressed like a skank next to this guy that's dressed like he wants to be a rock star, but he's clearly not. So obviously he does not love this girl. He is just using her as an object and parading her around as an object, putting her in danger by presenting her to the world as an object. And then he'd be like, look at this couple over here. She's dressed very, very beautiful, right? She's clearly a beautiful woman with a beautiful shape, but she's not, everything is not out and about. You know what I mean? Still classy, beautiful. You can tell her body is perfect, but you see the difference. And one guy parades the girl like, this is like my skank, this is my property. And the other one is like, this is my wife. This is my pride and joy. This is the mother of my children. Like there's a different attitude from the men. And then he'd be like, look at the difference. Feel the difference by watching these people. What does it feel like when you see this versus that? And these are questions that most 11-year-olds don't get nowadays, but I did. Okay, so I had to think about these things. And there was a time later on where I remember dating a guy, and he bought me these, what I want to call hooker pants. And I'm like, I don't really want to wear that. And he's like, come on, please, blah, 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 blah. So I wore them one time, and everybody looked at me like I was trash, and I felt like trash. And then I'm like, no more. And then, of course, we broke up. And looking back, I realized he was doing that because he was trying to pretend he was straight. That's another story. And I think sometimes, like, when guys try to hypersexualize women too much, or they finally get like a good looking girl and they want to like show off to the other guys by encouraging to dress a little bit slutty or skanky or just too much, if you ask me. I think that comes from trying to overcompensate for the fact that they're probably not into chicks. And we found that out later. It happens. But anyways, be really careful. If it doesn't feel good, it's not good. And one thing I always think back to now, like, if my dad would be humiliated by it, don't do it. Don't do anything like that. Yes, they did. Look, it happens to the best of us. He was I don't know, like, there's something about a guy who can like put an outfit together that really gets girls. But now I realize you just find the guy who's a really good guy that dresses like awful. The colors are wrong. The style is wrong. The fit is wrong. But if they're a good guy, you can teach them how to dress. Like, I buy Steven's clothes now, and he looks fabulous now. Okay, fabulous. And he even admitted, he's like, oh, okay, this looks good. All right. And you'll notice, like, women notice too, which is not good, but what are you gonna do? When he looks good, he looks good. But there's a very big difference between what someone who's trying to fake masculinity looks for in a woman and what someone who's actually masculine looks for. Like a guy who really likes you doesn't want you to be, in a vulnerable situation or to be looked at like an object. It would be scary for their prized person to be looking like that in public, because what kind of attention will they get? And then you as a guy have to be on high alert to protect them. And you don't want to do that. And, just like, look, and I'm not saying I dress frumpy either, okay? There is a line. And there's also a line of when you're with your husband and when you're not with your husband, what you can get away with, where you're going, if you're going to feel safe, whatever. I'm not saying like just dress like an old lady or whatever. We're in modern times. It's fine. That's all I'm saying. What are you saying? A woman had her way with him. Let's put it like, who? Explain yourself. What is Chud the Builder? Explain yourself. I don't understand this comment. I know you guys try to make jokes at my expense, and that's totally fine. But like, just explain to me what you're trying to say so I could get it. Anyways, but yeah. So Albina has a very good father, and she, on her channel, I think it's called The Privileged View, or maybe it's her name, Albina, whatever. You can look it up on YouTube. She has good content on advice from her father, who is a very good, strong man, like the good archetype. Like, if you don't have this as a father, you need to find someone who's like this as a young adult to be around as much as possible. I would like intern for somebody who's like this. I would like seek them out. I would do anything to be around people in good relationships, in good marriages, with good families. And you judge them by their fruit. I always say that. Judge them by their fruit. If the kids are trash, the family's trash. Okay? If the relationship's trash, both people or one of the people is trash. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Okay? When you seek good people, they usually have good kids. Like the kids, like one thing I knew growing up is I would see other girls and they would want to rebel against their fathers. Oh, I'll do whatever I want. He can't tell me what to do, like the Little Mermaid syndrome. I'm 16 years old. I'm not a child. I can decide for myself. I had the complete opposite reaction. I was like, I can't do that. What if my dad finds out? He'll be disappointed in me. Like, and they would tell me, nerd, you're a nerd, cat. And I'd be like, okay, I'm a nerd. I guess I'm a nerd. I'm still not going to do it. I remember there's one time, like, there was a bunch of girls, they were playing spin the bottle or what's it, truth or dare. Sorry, truth or dare. I don't know these things. They're playing truth or dare. I'm like, I don't really want to play because I'm not doing any of the dares. And they're like, come on, play. We won't make you do anything stupid, whatever. Of course, within a few times, they're like, like flash people. And I immediately said, no, I'm not doing that. And then they're like, the girls berating me, like trying to, what are you afraid of? Why won't you do it? What, you think you're better than us? Like literally they always go to, do you think you're better than us? Now I know, thinking back, it's because they thought I was better than them, which was true. So they're very observant, but I still wouldn't do it. And then I remember they're like, look, see, I did it. No big deal. Now you do it. And I just felt like it was like a demon trying to get me to sign some demonic contract. And I was just like, no, still not doing it. And you know what? I'm not playing your little game. Good luck though. And they were so mean, so vicious, like little vipers, talking some mad smack about me, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I didn't do it. They did it. And we all know who ended up better in life. I don't have to mention. We know outcomes. It is what it is. And no shade to them. I'm sure like they had a lot of demons that they were fighting, and it's hard out there with so many broken families, so much going on, and the media is such trash. Yeah, I think I went to one bachelorette party and it was like, this was before I was really religious or I knew any of that stuff. So like, please understand, not everybody knows everything, but I was still very anti those type of places. But there was one, it was like, there was a girls' side where they had like male strippers, which I'm sorry, it's so uncomfortable. They're not into women. I don't know how to tell you guys this. The male strippers are into each other. They're no straight dude knows how to shake their butt. It's just they don't know how to do that, okay? And then the other side, it's like the women who had like bad fathers or absent fathers. So, and then the guys go look at them. But these gay dudes, basically, and nothing wrong with that, be gay, they would like be shaking it. And I just remember sitting there like, if any of these people come up to me, I'm gonna scream. And they're like, you have to be supportive, your friend's getting married. And I'm like, why do I have to be here if just because she wants to get married? Like, this is so uncomfortable. Now being older and wiser, I just wouldn't go. I just wouldn't hang out with a friend who would make me do something like that or try to guilt me into doing something like that. But I think like Steve really wanted to go to the boys one. So he's like, just go, just be supportive. Who cares? You don't have to do anything. Just sit there. And I'm like, whatever, fine. So I sit there and it was so weird. Like one of the little girls, I say little because not that she was younger than me, but she was like actually shorter than me. And since I'm so tiny, like it's so rare that I see people who are smaller than me. So I like call them little. Anyways, so she gets this clearly gay guy to give her a lap dance. It was the most cringiest thing. It's like so sad. Like, and I'm sorry about guys that go to strip clubs and get lap dances. And I'm sorry about the girls who are doing this. And I know some of you think that this is just good old fashioned fun. It is skanky. It is embarrassing. I am humiliated for you all. It is so uncomfortable to watch. I was grossed out. I was terrified. If anyone asked me, like, do I want a drink or something, I would scream because I was so tense from like the stress. And I'm like wearing like 4 sweaters. And I think I had like sweatpants and shit on. Like I tried to look like a bum, like a homeless chick. Anyways, so I am just like, very traumatized. And I'm seeing this girl who is about to get married go in the back room with some gay dude that she's paying to like do something to her in the back. And I am just like, what is happening? The marriage didn't work out. I don't know if I need to tell you guys that, but it didn't work out. If you or your girl or your guy is really into going to that type of stuff, they're probably not into monogamy and commitment and being a good father or mother. They're probably not into that stuff either. And this is just my opinion. I haven't seen it work out. Maybe there's some outliers and good on them, but I just feel like you guys gotta like, why do you want to get married if you want to be still looking at other people's like that in that kind of capacity? Why do you want to get married then? Just be single. Nobody is forcing anybody to be in a relationship. This world, you can literally, pay people to do whatever you want in that capacity. Like whether you're male or female, just pay someone to get your rocks off and don't bring kids into it. Don't bother with a religious ceremony. Like this, who are we playing with? Who are we like messing around for? Look, I can neither confirm or deny I was not in the back room. So we don't know what happened. And even if nothing happened, like I would, if I was the dude, and I knew about that, I would be so mortified. I'd be humiliated. I would be like, what is the purpose of this? Why are we getting married? How can I have kids with this person? And the same, because I think he did that too. So it's like, they're both doing that. Like, let's not pretend it was one or the other. They were both doing that to each other. Okay. And usually those people find each other. One maybe lies and say, I'm not going to do that. You can do that though. But they're both doing that to each other. This is just the pattern. I've had many jobs where I'm very close to the coworkers and the coworker drama, and the personal life comes up and comes out. And there's a lot of like, those poly people, those one side open, when in the reality, it's both sides open, but nobody knows about it because it's like one is open about the openness and one is closed about the openness. And one of them, and usually the one who's closed about the openness, has way more openness, if you catch my drift. But that's none of my business. You guys do you. Be careful out there. And if you come from a situation where there's a bad marriage, please do not do the complete extreme opposite, because if you haven't dealt with your nervous system being used to chaos, you're just going to create a different type of chaos. There's a billion ways to have a shitty life and a shitty relationship and a shitty marriage. There's a billion ways to ruin your kids and your family and your whole lineage. A billion ways. There's only like a handful of ways to do it right. And it's not rocket science. Okay. We all know you got both be faithful. You both can't be making each other jealous. Everybody has to feel secure, emotionally, physically, mentally secure. And there's no one-sidedness. No. Both people have to be in it. And if you don't submit to God, you cannot submit to each other. And if you don't believe in it, you probably don't believe in any sort of values or morality. You can't have morality without that. I'm sorry. Like what is your morality based on if you don't have religion? And if your religion is wishy-washy or one-sided, I can do this, but you can't. Who is going to agree to that? Someone who's going to be lying to you. People need safety. Healthy people only respond to safety, not the mind games. So if you are giving instability signals, I like you, I don't like you, I want to commit, I don't know if I want to commit. I'll be monogamous. I don't want to be monogamous. I want to be monogamous, but I'm going to be looking at people and lusting. I want this, but I don't want to do this. If you keep going back and forth, you're not giving safety. And when you don't give safety, all you're going to get is drama and trauma and chaos, and then a really bad blown up ending. And then you're going to be like, well, the other person was bad. And it's like, you were both bad, because it takes two people to come into agreement with the other person. Even if like one of you is just like off the walls, You have to agree to be with them. That means you have to degrade yourself so much that you agree to their chaotic terms. And if you do that and it doesn't end well, what are you going to do? Who are you going to blame? Because you are your responsibility. This is your responsibility. Who are you going to let around you? That's all I'm saying. And the other thing is, when you put yourself in situations like even the sprinkle lady, she's not the same as the Wizard Liz woman, because they're very different. Sprinkle waited until she was happily married with the type of man she wanted before she started talking about that stuff. She had the proof. She already achieved what she wanted. And you know what? He knew everything she was saying online, and he was very supportive about that, because he was like, yeah, I don't want my kids with a broke guy. I want my kids with a provider guy. Now, when he passed away, and he did, she was devastated, even though, whatever, she took time off. She grieved him with the girls and everything like that. Like, this is not someone who is specifically just with him for his money. She might say that to people, but you could tell there was more to it. They had a good relationship. I'm just saying. And besides, and it could just be like her brand is do this because, it attracts a certain type of people, a certain niche audience of women that are like broke, I guess. Homeless women really love that content. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to make money off of them. Whatever. Right? And good for her for doing which. And she's also hilarious. So there's many things about the sprinkle that's different than this one. This chick is just doing the complete opposite and talking a lot about manifesting. You can't, I don't know. I don't believe in like, I probably said manifest a couple times in, joking manners or whatever, but like, I don't really believe in manifesting. You get what you deserve. You get what you work for. The quickest way to get what you want is to deserve it. All right. Are there bad people? Yeah. But there's also you ignoring red flags because you're desperate and you don't want to do the things. How many people they believe in God, but they do not ask or they do not pray for, if this person is not meant for me, please take him out of my life. They don't do that because they're afraid of being alone more than being with somebody who's nasty and toxic. Or the girls who are like afraid to ask for a commitment or afraid to ask for marriage because they know the person does not want that. Or the guy who's afraid to say, get off Instagram if you want to be with me, because he knows she's a hoe and she's going to stay on there and showing off to everybody and probably messaging people. They know, Stop lying to yourself. If the person doesn't make you feel safe, if you have to tell yourself a million things so that you could be with them, So let's not blame other people for our own bad decisions. Looking back, I knew that dude wasn't straight. I knew he didn't want to touch me. And I said, oh, he's religious, because I wanted to believe that because he was cute. He was a cute boy. Usually they are. They always are. They know how to dress. They're cute. The other girls were jealous because, girls love gay dudes. They love them. It really is. They know how to talk. They know how to gossip. They love all that stuff. So you don't want to see the forest for the trees. That's on you. It's okay. Yeah. I mean, it is true. Look, and it's also great dating a guy who you walk on the street with and there's like a half naked skank and he's just looking at you and smiling at you. That's a great feeling too. And everybody deserves to be with good people. And I know you think there's no good people because you're on dating apps and you're too scared to talk to strangers. Narcissists are online and on dating apps, or maybe married people. You need to find single people. Single people, they're at work and they're not on dating apps because they're scared of them. Because predators, come on, predators are on there. Male and female predators. They don't want the Tinder swindler, and guys shouldn't want the secret OF girl who's trying to extort you for money. They don't want that. So get off the apps. Get a hobby or a job where you could be around other people, and you got to do it in person and get to know people's families. If you know someone who's from a good family, even if they're taken. Ask them for other people who are in their family, because chances are their cousins and their, nieces and nephews are gonna also come from a good family, because good families are they're good usually the whole way through. Go find good, happy, married people and ask them. I have never been on a bad date that was not suggested to me from a happily married person, even like a much older person. Like, let's say you have a job and there's like an older woman there and she really likes you. She thinks you're a good person. And she goes, "Why are you single?" And it's like, "Oh, I just haven't met the right person." And then they go, "Well, I know someone." And if you're a dumbass, you'll be like, "Oh, no, it's fine," or whatever. Or you'll be like, "Show me a picture." And it's like right then and there, good people are going to be like, "No, you ain't ready. You're not ready." But if you go, "Yeah, I'm ready to meet new people. I like you. You have a good relationship, a good family, a good marriage, good kids. I trust that you have a good idea of what to look for because you've done it. You're doing it." And then go out. And I've gone on dates with people. And maybe if they didn't work out, I didn't end up with them. But we met. We both bought like an ice cream. Like, I don't let them pay for me because that's my thing. My dad was very much like, never let anyone pay for you. That's not your boyfriend. That's his rule. And I think it's a good rule because there is that like, "Oh, I bought you this. Now you better, show me your boob," or something. It's like, no. We're not doing that. Don't let a guy spend a dime on you unless you're in a committed relationship with him. Because, ladies, you're not prostitutas. No, you are not. Now, if you can do the sprinkle prostitutas, just get the money, but you're not going to get the family and the kids. You got to decide. You have to decide. You can't have everything. Life is about choices. That is wonderful for you, and I am glad you have it tampered down to exactly what you want. Please go out and find it. I believe in you guys. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. It is Friday, so the week is coming down, and hopefully my hair doesn't look crazy for tomorrow. You're 51. What do you mean you're 51? And wait, hold on. You wanted an 18 to 30-year-old boy. 25 to 30 is my final offer for you. You're 51. 25 to 30, and she better not want any kids. You're too old. I'm sorry. I had an old dad, but he was like in his 40s. What are we doing here at 51? And I know there's plenty of people who do it, but like, you better be rich because if you know your kids are not going to have a father when they're old enough to date, and they're not going to have the guidance of a father when they're old enough to date, you better be setting them up financially. You better be taking videos, giving them relationship advice. You better start making them videos now before you have a kid. Before you have a kid, I need you giving your possible sons and daughters relationship advice on video. Okay? Do it now. Get your freaking 18-year-old. Go ahead. I don't care. But make the videos, because I would not be where I am if it wasn't for my father. And 51 is old because nobody's pregnant yet, from what I can tell. So get out there. Find someone. Okay. Good luck. You need to last until your kid is 28, at least, because they should be married by then, hopefully. Actually, let's say 30, because modern times. You want your sons and your daughters to be married. So you don't have much time. So you better be intermittent fasting, not eating any sugar. I don't want any processed food in your diet. You better eat some liver every now and then. Get your sun, like sunshine. And then have your kids now. You're too late. Anyways, good luck, you guys. I'll see you next time. I hope you have 55,000 years, but we don't know what we're going to get. Nobody knows. We try for the best. We hope for the best. But anyways, have a beautiful weekend. I might come tomorrow. It depends on if I have a migraine or not. See you all next time. Bye.
World War III, bombs away, they're lighting skies to clear the way. No place to run, no place to pray. They read your mind, they make